Hey everybody, Chris at Gadgets and Gravel. These days, keep our home locked up and secured is one of the most important things we can do from outside threats. But sometimes you want just a little bit more than the basic old style lock and key, right? So we need something a little bit more. There's a lot of different options out there and different ways to keep your home secured so you can know what's going on without having to even be there. To make sure it's locked, did it get unlocked, who's coming and going, all that kind of stuff are all things within products we can use these days. But something interesting about this new lock from Eufy, the Familock S3 Max is what I'm testing here, that literally puts all of that in the palm of your hands, kind of like this. Stick around, let's check out some more. So let's kind of get some of the basics out of the way right now. So like I said, this is the Eufy Familock S3 Max. There is a Familock S3. The difference being there's no secondary screen on the back side. So I'll show you that in just a bit. But yes, there's a screen on the back of this lock. So you can kind of see what's going on outside of your door. If you don't have windows around it and you don't want to pull up the phone real quick or somebody doesn't have access to the app, they can just walk right up to the door and look at the screen. So that's really cool. So $50 extra for that on the S3 Max, which starts at $399. And the standard S3 comes in at $349. Now, Eufy did send this to me to test. However, they are getting no input on what the video is going to content. They're not going to get to see it prior, any of the information, anything like that. So they're going to see it first time, just like you guys are. So with this lock, there's a couple different ways to use it, a couple different ways to get it installed. So we'll go through different basics of what this lock offers, a little bit about the app, and some of the things you can do with this that really makes this lock different than anything else out there. So stick around, let's dive into some of the basic features of this lock though. All right, so let's talk about some of the basics of this lock. So it's a standard deadbolt. It goes into any deadbolt slot you have. It does have some adjustments, work with a couple different basic sizes that kind of float around out there depending on your door style. Now mine, I did not have a lock previously, so I did have to drill this out and install it. So I bought a simple lock kit to help me drill out the hole for both the lock itself and then also the deadbolt that extends out. So drill both those in there to get that set up. It's not a difficult process. There's plenty of ways to get that done. Check out some YouTube videos out there, they'll help you out. But once you get it installed and you have the hole cut, if you already have one there, it's really simple. You literally pull the old one out, walk through the instructions either on the video that comes with this through the Eufy app or the instructions that are in the box with the lock itself. Once installed, get your couple of bolts, get it all screwed in, plug it in, and you're ready to go. Once it's set up in the app, you get a few different ways to unlock this. It's really nice. So you don't get rid of the old style, you know, the tried and true key. That's still right there, hidden behind the doorbell button, because this is not just a lock, but it's also a doorbell and a security camera. The benefit also that is back here is behind this little rubber deal is a USB-C port. So should your lock battery die, you still have a way to power it up if you need to use the keypad or the palm scanner. You still have a way to do that if you don't have your keys with you and you need to charge it up, because everybody's got some sort of battery pack floating around with them or something like that. That you can plug this in and get a quick juice up so you can get back into your home. Should all the other fail safes go, you have that as a backup. But when it comes to unlocking it, like I said, you got your key. We've also got a keypad here, so you can put in a keypad. So you can have a master code that will unlock it for anybody, but you can also get individual key passes to different people. So you can have some that run temporarily. So if you have somebody coming to check on your house while you're gone on vacation, pet sit, water some plants, or whatever that may be, you can give them a code specifically to that person and then set a time that it works between. So whether that's times a day or a length of time, that's all can be set up in the app. It also alerts you when that code's been used, so you know when that person is coming and going. So that's a really cool feature also of this. Of course, the standout feature that really kind of sets this lock over the top of others is right up here, and that's the palm scanner. So up there, that is reading the veins within your hand using a near field infrared light. So what Eufy is claiming, based on their data and their research, is that it is 99.999999, repeating, more accurate than fingerprints. Now, if you kind of think about it, it makes a little bit of sense. Our fingerprints are unique to everybody, right? But there's only so much surface area there. And so with a palm, you have a lot more area to read, so it can scan that real quick. And it is fast. Once it recognizes it, which it does quickly, it'll do it within about half a second. Once you get it up there and it's scanned, it's done and ready to go, and it opens, it's quick. No different than doing it with your fingerprints. So I've been pretty impressed with that so far, how quickly that works. And I've tested it with my left hand or my right hand. I've had my wife try it, and it doesn't unlock unless it is my correct right palm. That's the only time it will work. So it has been accurate in my testing. I did try it with a picture, print a picture of my hand, put it on there. Didn't make any difference, didn't unlock. So far so good on the security front with that. Yeah, so far the lock's been solid. I love the different ways you can unlock it. The backup system of having that USB port in there is just a good peace of mind should you need to power the lock up for some reason. Like I said, forgot your keys. I don't even carry my house keys with me anymore. Between this lock and then the lock going through my garage door, which is another eufy smart lock. However, it does have a keypad and a fingerprint reader on it. But I don't use keys anymore for my house, which is really nice. But heaven forbid, the key lock dies, fingerprints are dirty, I get a cut on my thumb and I can't use it anymore. There is the key, and if I leave my keys in the house, there's the battery backup if the battery should be dead in the unit. So let's get into a little bit more about the battery on that and how that works as far as keeping us powered up. All right, so here we are at the back of the lock, so we can kind of check out the battery as well as talk about that secondary screen that I was talking about. So the battery, so like I said, on the front, we get behind the keypad is that USB-C port, so you can kind of power it up if you need some of the functions like the keypad or the palm scanner should you forget your keys at home, and the lock battery has died. So what that USB-C powers into is a 15,000 milliamp hour rechargeable battery pack. So that's really nice. Eufy claims it can get from 5 to 6 months of regular usage of locking and unlocking the door multiple times a day, camera usage and all that stuff. On light usage, they're saying you can get up to 12 months. So I've had this lock installed now for probably a couple of months now. So of course I haven't had to charge it yet. I'm sitting around 70% battery. My front door doesn't use a whole lot, so it doesn't get any locks and unlocks a lot. So your mileage may vary on that. But should that battery pack die, there is also a backup before you need to stick the USB charging battery pack in there. It does have 4 AAA batteries that it ships with. So those go in there as a backup to the backup. Yeah, backup to the backup, something like that. So should your battery pack die that comes with it, the rechargeable battery pack, the AAA batteries will come in to kind of help power the system until you get it recharged. So while you pull that out, there's still batteries in there. You can still use the lock as normal. Should those die and the battery pack die, that's when that USB-C port on the front side comes in handy, hidden behind the doorbell lock. Yep, that's it. So that's how the battery works on this. So let's get into that screen and talk about how that thing looks. All right, so on the back of the lock, so behind the panel is where we get to the battery. That panel also contains our screen right there. So there's our battery we just got done talking about. That screen is right here, plugs into that, snaps on there. There we go. Screen's in there. Pressing that button fires up the screen so you can see who's outside. Again, I have a secondary door, and so this camera isn't doing a whole lot of good until somebody opens that door. So for my particular setup, plus I've got a window right here and a window over here, so I can see who's outside without having to look at the screen. But it is nice. It is a great feature for those homes that don't have that. So if you don't have the windows near your lock, or you live in an apartment, or you got like a peephole situation going on, if you have a deadbolt, put this in there. You get a screen so you can look out without having to go to a window and open it up so people can, may see that you're at home and you're trying to, sneak around. Or maybe you don't want your kids to be visible should somebody come to the door as a protective measure. You don't want them to know your child's home alone or their children home at all. So that's a great option to be able to look at that screen prior to opening the door to see who's outside. So it's really nice. So below the screen though, we do have a button here. Press that and it locks the door. There's also a physical dial or knob here to turn that and lock your door that way. So it's really cool. The screen, it's pretty clear. I mean, it doesn't do anything. It's not a touch screen by any means. You can't do anything with it like that. It does say eufy security, tells you your Wi-Fi connected, it shows your battery percentage for both the rechargeable battery pack that's in it. That's at 15,000 milliamp hour battery, which I said 70%. Looking here, I'm actually 78%, even better. But it also shows how charged the AAA batteries that are in there to help back up the battery pack should it go down. So cool features right there. Useful screen if it works for your setup. If not, but you want that palm reader option still part of the lock and the other features, you can go with the S3, not the S3 Max, save 50 bucks and you don't have to worry about the screen. Cool deal. So back on the front side here, I want to talk about the camera, because one thing that's really nice about this is, like I said, it's a doorbell, it's a video camera, and it's a deadbolt lock for your home. The camera is really nice. It gives you great, like really good clear images. It's got a 150-degree vertical range, angle of viewing. So you're gonna get head to toe really well. It does get a little distorted, you know, with the fisheye effect and kind of bubbling things out a little bit more than you maybe would want. But we're not taking these photos to hang up in the art gallery, right? So it does a good job of getting that. It's still plenty recognizable of who's out there. It does have HDR, so high dynamic range is gonna help with a lot of backlight. So what you're gonna experience most times when you got a camera on the front of your house without exterior light and the sun's out, it's easy to get too much light behind whoever's there, and it kind of blows them out because it doesn't know how to focus on which person or what to do. So the HDR helps out with a lot of that. So it still makes the images really clear. It does have great night vision as well. So at night, it isn't going to be color, but it does a good job of using IR to illuminate the subjects. You can kind of see who's out there, even in the dark environments, you know, in the evening times and things like that. Or if you happen to have this in an apartment in a dark hall, this would be helpful for that as well. On that as well, so you got your camera, and then the camera, so to speak, the palm scanner also has a 120-degree viewing field. So you don't have to be directly in front of it necessarily. You can kind of have your hand out of the way, and it reads from about 6 centimeters out to 30 centimeters. So you have a good range on that. It's, like I said, it's quick to get it read and move on. With my setup for the door, it's really close. Since you can see I have this window here, it does make the lock really close to the door frame when it's closed. So trying to finagle in my left hand doesn't really work. So with my particular setup, right palm reaches in there, does just fine, plenty of space, and though the angle that it can read at really helps out in this situation. So the camera, superb, great camera on it. It does have some cool detection features. So of course, if somebody approaches the door, it'll notify you, hey, I've seen somebody, but it'll also tell you if it recognizes a person. So if you have somebody visits frequently, you can go ahead and kind of add them in there so you'll know when a specific person has come to your home before they even ring the doorbell. It's kind of nice. But it also can notify you if somebody's been loitering. So it'll recognize if it notices that some person has been hanging around your house frequently or for extended periods of time, it can notify you of that. So a good way to kind of get ahead of something, whether it's a person coming to visit you and you can kind of be prepared to greet them at the door before they even ring the doorbell, or you kind of have an idea if somebody's kind of casing your house, right? To kind of check it out to see what's going on out there. It'll let you know if somebody's been hanging around more than they should be. So really cool security features there. So one of the things I want to talk about is also, in addition to the eufy app that you can pair this up with and view the camera, unlock the door, see who's coming and going, change your codes, you know, add palms, do all that kind of stuff with it. There's also other connectivity features that this lock has with it as well. It is also Matter compatible, so that's really great. So you can connect it with different platforms, even if you don't have the hub or something like that. So connects directly to Amazon Alexa. It'll connect to Google Home devices. So it works with a bunch of different platforms thanks to Matter. So it's a great connectivity protocol that is working within this lock. And there aren't a whole lot of smart locks these days that have that functionality in them right now. So something worth keeping an eye on. And it does add the nice thing, I was surprised. So when adding it to a Matter controlled ecosystem, so like Alexa or Google Assistant, it actually had more functionality than I thought it would have. So while you're not going to get the full suite of software uses that you would get from the app, just purely because the limitations that Matter currently has, it is still nice. You still get some basic functionality, and you can access it even if you don't have the eufy lock accessible at the moment, or I mean, the eufy app accessible at the moment. Your Google Home, we will control it directly as well. So something to keep in mind, a great feature that I'm glad that eufy was able to get put into this lock. So all in all, I really like the eufy Familock S3 Max. The S3, exact same lock, just does not have the screen here. So again, if you don't need the screen or don't have a use for it, skip it, save the 50 bucks, get all the features that you get with the S3 Max. But again, just minus the screen. But I really like it. It's been really handy. I do like the palm scanning function over a fingerprint, because sometimes, you know, if my finger may be dirty, or, you know, doing things outside, it gets kind of scratched up, or who knows what's going on. Trying to get that to read on there can sometimes be a pain, you know, and I don't want to pick time, put in a code or whatever. That just putting the palm up to it really quick, scans it, lets the lock unlock, move on about my day. It's a really cool feature. You know, the keypad works like it should. The doorbell's nice. I do have a Nest wired doorbell out there, so the doorbell isn't necessarily as useful, especially considering the lock is hidden behind a second door out there. So if somebody is coming to my house, they may not think to open the door to get to the doorbell. So in my particular setup, this lock has way more features than I needed to use. However, I do appreciate them, and for you, this may be the perfect lock for your setup. So keep that in mind. Again, eufy Familock S3 and S3 Max. The only difference, Max has a screen on the back. So stay tuned. I do have a bunch more videos coming up. I have another lock that I'm gonna start testing from TCL that also does palm scan reading. Doesn't have quite as many features as this one does, but I'm curious to see how it performs and compares to what eufy's offering here. So stick around the channel. I've got some great videos coming up, a really bunch of really neat products. I've got robot vacuums with arms. I've got some robot lawnmowers going on. I've got some more camping gear. I've got a lot of gear coming up that I'm really excited about to show you guys. So stick around, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any, and we'll get you taken care of. So again, Chris at Gadgets and Gravel, thanks for stopping by.